You've been there. I mean, we all have, right? You
Hmm.
set these ambitious goals, maybe sketch out some really detailed plans,
Yeah.
and yet somehow when it actually comes to taking that very first step, nothing. Crickets.
Right. It's like hitting an invisible wall.
Exactly, an invisible wall. And that wall often has one big familiar name: procrastination.
The classic.
Yeah. So today we're not just talking about like a slightly annoying habit. We're doing a deep dive into what honestly you could call a silent killer of potential, a thief of time,
Absolutely.
and really the barrier between where you are now and where you want to be.
Definitely.
So our mission today is to really unpack why it happens and, maybe more importantly, how you can genuinely break free from its grip.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because it's so crucial to understand the procrastination.
Hmm.
Well, it isn't really about laziness.
Oh, right. That's a common misconception, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
People beat themselves up thinking they're lazy.
Right.
But what's truly fascinating when you look at the psychology, it's usually rooted in something deeper, usually fear.
Fear. Yeah.
Yeah, fear of failure is a big one, for sure. But also, sometimes it's the fear of the task just being too huge, too overwhelming.
Hmm.
Or, and this one surprises people, sometimes it's even the fear of success.
Fear of success. How does that work?
Well, sometimes the task feels like it could, challenge your self-identity. It can trigger that imposter syndrome feeling.
Yeah, okay. Like if I succeed, people will expect more or I won't live up to it.
Exactly. So avoidance becomes this weird protective mechanism.
Yeah,
Your brain essentially tells you, hey, if we don't start, we can't possibly fail.
right. Makes sense in a twisted way.
It does. But the irony is that avoidance,
Yeah.
it just ramps up the anxiety, the stress, and that horrible feeling of guilt. It backfires.
That's such a powerful distinction. So, okay, if it's rooted in fear or this identity threat thing,
Hmm.
how do you actually figure out which specific fear is holding you back? Is it always obvious or is it sometimes kind of hidden?
That's a fantastic question. And no, it's rarely obvious right away. The first really crucial step in overcoming procrastination is, well, you have to become a bit of a detective of your own mind.
Okay. Put my detective hat on.
Yeah. Ask yourself, what exactly about this task feels intimidating? Like really dig into it. Is it the possibility of a negative outcome,
Mm-hmm.
Failing?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it maybe the pressure to do it perfectly
Mm.
that points towards perfectionism?
Perfectionism, another big one.
Huge.
Oh.
Or is it simply the sheer size of the project that just makes you feel completely overwhelmed? That sort of analysis paralysis.
Right, where you don't even know where to begin.
Exactly. So understanding that underlying reason, whether it's a specific fear, that need for perfection, or you're just feeling totally swamped, that's the foundation. You need that piece to start tackling it head on. Because without knowing why you're stopping, any strategy is just kind of a shot in the dark,
Okay. So let's say you've done some detective work. You've maybe identified the why. The next massive question is, how do we actually start moving? Because like you said, that first step,
Mm.
it's often the absolute toughest, right?
It really is.
I heard about this deceptively simple tactic, the 2-minute rule. Can something that small really make a difference? How does that work?
Oh, the 2-minute rule is brilliant. It's so simple, but incredibly effective.
Mm-hmm.
And it works because it directly tackles what behavioral scientists call activation energy.
Activation energy. Okay.
Yeah, basically the energy needed to just start.
Yeah.
The rule is, if a task will take 2 minutes or less to complete, you just do it now, immediately.
Like right now, don't even think about it.
Don't think, just do. The magic isn't just about ticking off small things, though that's nice. It's about drastically lowering that mental barrier to starting anything.
Yeah.
Our brains, they naturally resist effort.
Mine definitely does.
Yeah, most do. But by committing to just 2 minutes, you trick your brain, you
Yep.
bypass that initial resistance, you override the inertia, and that first push, even if it's tiny, it often triggers the brain's reward system. You get a little hit of dopamine.
Ah, the dopamine hit. Always good.
Always good. And suddenly, those bigger tasks, the ones that seem so daunting, they feel a little less overwhelming. Because you've already created that first bit of forward motion. You've basically proved to yourself that starting is the hardest part, and look, you just did it.
That makes perfect sense for, those quick, obvious tasks. Sending that email, washing that one dish.
Exactly.
But what about the bigger things, the more amorphous projects, the ones that demand sustained focus, the ones that still feel like a mountain even after a quick 2-minute win?
Right.
For those, I guess you need something with a bit more structure, yeah? Is that where something like time blocking fits in?
Absolutely. Time blocking is definitely your go-to strategy for those more complex, attention-heavy tasks.
Okay, so what is time blocking exactly?
It's a technique where you literally schedule specific chunks of time on your calendar for specific tasks, like
Mm.
Tuesday, 10:11 a.m., work on report outline.
Mm.
And here's the key. During those blocks, you commit to working only on that task. Zero distractions.
0. Like phone off, notifications silenced.
Ideally, yes. Because procrastination, as we talked about, it thrives in ambiguity,
Mm-hmm.
right? It loves when things are fuzzy and your attention is scattered.
Yeah.
Time blocking does the opposite. It gives your brain crystal clear directions. This is what you focus on right now.
Mm.
It cuts down on what psychologists call cognitive load, the mental effort of constantly deciding what to do next.
Yeah, okay. Reduces decision fatigue.
Exactly. And it minimizes the tension residue.
Yeah.
You know, when your brain is still half thinking about the last thing you were doing.
Oh, yeah, I hate that.
Right. So this
Uh-huh.
focused, uninterrupted time creates this powerful sense of urgency,
Mm.
almost like a mini deadline. And it helps force your mind into that deep work state. It's
Right.
about creating like an intentional container for your focus.
Okay, I like that. A container for focus. So we've got the 2-minute rule for quick wins, kickstarting things.
Yep.
We're creating these focused work containers with time blocking for the bigger stuff.
Right.
But sometimes, even with a time block scheduled, that task, it just looks like an insurmountable mountain. It still feels huge.
Mm-hmm. They can.
What's the next tactical move? How do you make those mountains feel more like, I don't know, manageable hills?
That's where breaking down those large tasks into smaller, much more manageable pieces is your next critical strategy.
Ah, breaking it down. Classic advice, but does it really work?
It really, really does.
Yeah.
Think about it. Looking at a huge project, like write entire thesis or launch the new product, it feels incredibly overwhelming, right? Almost paralyzing.
It's paralyzing.
But if you segment that, if you break it down into bite-sized steps, like research sources for chapter 1, draft the intro paragraph, create the first 5 presentation slides, suddenly it feels much more doable, doesn't it?
Yeah, okay. Less scary.
Much less scary. And here's the psychological kicker. Each time you complete one of those smaller segments, it feels like a genuine win. You get those little dopamine hits we talked about again.
Ah, more dopamine.
Exactly. It reinforces the positive behavior. It serves as a really significant motivation booster, pushing you onto the next small step. It shifts your whole perspective from being completely daunted by the whole thing to being energized by making actual tangible progress, incrementally.
Okay, this is building into quite a practical toolkit. We're tackling the root cause, the why, getting started with tiny actions using the 2-minute rule, creating focused work periods with time blocking, breaking down the big, scary tasks.
Right.
But what about, well, what about when you still mess up? Despite all these strategies, you slip up, or you just find yourself back in that familiar procrastination loop.
Yeah, that happens. It's inevitable sometimes.
So what's the most powerful weapon then? Maybe something surprising.
Okay, this might be the most important one, actually. It's self-compassion.
Self-compassion. How is being nice to myself a weapon against procrastination? Seems counterintuitive.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? But it's perhaps the most vital tool in this whole anti-procrastination toolkit. Here's why. When you inevitably fall behind or you miss a deadline, what's the usual instinctive reaction?
Beat myself up, tell myself I'm useless.
Exactly. Self-criticism, harsh judgment. But here's the insight, that self-criticism actually feeds the procrastination cycle.
Really?
It creates shame, anxiety, feelings of inadequacy, which makes you more likely to avoid the task next time, because now the task is associated with all those bad feelings.
Wow, okay. That makes sense. So self-compassion breaks that.
It breaks the cycle. Practicing self-compassion means being understanding and kind to yourself in those moments of slipping up. It means recognizing that, hey, everyone experiences procrastination sometimes. It's just part of being human. It's not a character flaw.
Right.
What truly matters isn't that you stumbled, but how you respond to stumbling. Which raises a really important practical question, doesn't it? If you just blew a major deadline or you're feeling totally stuck right now, how do you actually apply self-compassion in that moment? It's more than just saying, it's okay, right?
Yeah, that's a huge mental shift from the usual, like, self-flagellation. How does that practically look? Like, if someone listening just missed a big deadline, what's an active way to practice self-compassion right then, beyond just thinking it's okay?
Okay, a great way to apply it actively is, first, just acknowledge the feeling without judgment. So instead of, ugh, I'm so lazy and useless for missing that deadline, try framing it as, okay, I'm feeling really overwhelmed and pretty discouraged right now because I missed that deadline and that feeling is understandable.
Acknowledge and validate the feeling. Okay.
Exactly. Then the key is to treat yourself like you would treat a good friend who is struggling with the same thing.
Hmm.
Would you yell at your friend? Call him lazy? Probably not, right?
No, definitely not. I try to be supportive.
All right. You'd offer understanding. You might ask them gently, okay, that sounds tough. What's maybe one tiny thing you feel like you could do right now?
Bring it back to a small action.
Precisely. Or you might ask, what did we learn from this experience? How can we adjust things to make it easier next time?
Ah,
It's all about disarming that inner critic, that shame spiral, and re-engaging the problem-solving part of your brain.
ah.
Focusing on gentle forward movement, not dwelling on the past mistake.
That feels much more constructive
And
and kinder.
it is, and ultimately much more effective in the long run.
Okay, so let's recap this deep dive then. The core message seems to be procrastination. It's not some permanent state you're just stuck with.
Not at all.
It's a behavior often driven by these deeper psychological responses, like fear or overwhelm.
Exact.
But you absolutely have the power to break free, not by like brute force or willpower alone,
Right.
but by first understanding the why behind it for you personally.
Becoming that detective.
Yeah. And then applying these specific targeted strategies we talked about, building your personal anti-procrastination toolkit. So that's identify the root cause, take small actions with the 2-minute rule to lower that activation energy.
Get that momentum going.
Use focused time blocking to manage your attention and cognitive load.
Create those containers.
Break down the big tasks to get those dopamine hits from small wins.
Make it manageable.
And, crucially, practice self-compassion when you inevitably stumble. Be kind to yourself.
You've nailed it. And by consistently applying these strategies, even imperfectly at first, you really can start to rewire your brain. You can create a new pattern. A pattern of productivity, sure, but also maybe more ease around getting things done. So please, stop letting procrastination hold you back from whatever it is you want to achieve, from reaching your, incredible potential. You have the tools now. You can create a more intentional, more productive life.
So take that first step, whatever it is for you today. No matter how small it seems, just take it and keep moving forward. You've truly got this.
And maybe leave you with this thought. If success genuinely begins when you take action, what hidden potential are you ready to unlock in your own life? Just by taking that very first tiny step, maybe even right now.